There is a story we rarely share about the gentle and discreet soul who walks among us. The person who holds the door open, listens attentively, and gives without expecting anything in return. We pass them in brief moments, but we are often too busy to really notice their presence. They do not seek the spotlight, they do not cry for recognition, but they are always there, shaping the world with their simplicity and tenderness. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like, it costs nothing. However, when the stage goes dark, these people are often left alone. It is a paradox, isn't it? Kindness, so extolled in poems, philosophies, and social values, is often met with disdain or apathy. The kind person, no matter how many virtues they possess, becomes an easy target for neglect. They face silent isolation, even as they brighten the lives around them. Why does this happen? Why do those who embody patience, empathy, and generosity often find themselves alone? Is this an inherent flaw in kindness, or perhaps a misunderstanding of its true power? This is not a complaint, but a reflection. A closer look at why the kindest people, those who bear the weight of the world on their shoulders, often end up carrying that burden alone. Today, we explore this enigma, revealing the hidden dynamics between kindness and loneliness. We will decipher the layers of social expectations, human nature, and the quiet strength it takes to remain kind in a world that does not always reciprocate. In the loneliness of these people lies a powerful story worth telling. A story of resilience, integrity, and, above all, courage. Being kind is not just a quality, it is a responsibility that requires deep emotional labor, something few truly understand. Kind people carry this weight daily, silently. Their kindness is not a performance or strategy, it is an intrinsic reflection of who they are. Yet this instinct, as noble as it may be, often comes with an invisible burden. Being kind means opening yourself up to others, embracing their pain and struggles. Kind people become shoulders to lean on, ears to listen, and hands to help. They do this with an open heart, but that doesn't mean the cost is low. Every favor granted, every moment of understanding shared, takes a little of their energy, their time, their essence. And the world doesn't always return this care. Some people take comfort in the generosity of kind people, assuming it's endless, like the sunrise. But while kindness is abundant, it's not inexhaustible. It needs to be nurtured and renewed. When kind people give and give without even receiving a thank you, their inner reservoir begins to run dry. Yet these people rarely express their exhaustion. They fear appearing selfish or ungrateful. They've been taught to believe that asking for something in return diminishes the value of their kindness. So they keep giving their time, energy, and heart, while their own needs take a back seat. The weight of kindness lies not in the desire for recognition, but in a simple longing for genuine gestures, a thank you, a word of support, a look that says, "I see you." And even when that recognition doesn't come, kind people don't give up their values, their integrity, or their belief in the transformative power of kindness. It's paradoxical that precisely because of this dedication, kind people often feel isolated. They can be in a room full of people they've helped, yet still experience profound loneliness. Not because others don't care, but because they rarely realize the depth of the kindness they've received. The power of being kind lies in carrying a commitment to goodness, even when no one is watching. And while that burden is heavy, it's also what makes these people extraordinary. Their kindness is not just a choice, but a testament to courage, resilience, and an unshakable faith in humanity, no matter what it costs them. A decision to prioritize the common good over their own comfort is a choice that often leaves these people isolated, trying to balance their longing for harmony with their unacknowledged pain. Yet their avoidance of conflict is not a sign of weakness, but rather a reflection of their belief in the power of kindness, their hope for understanding, and their commitment to preserving meaningful connections. This stance, though often misunderstood, is a strength, because their decision not to confront comes not from a lack of capacity but from a clear understanding that confrontation can threaten the bonds they hold dear. The world could learn from these people. Their reluctance to engage in conflict is born of love, not fear. It is a testament to their unwavering faith in patience and understanding. Yet even the most generous people must find a balance between protecting their own hearts while continuing to share their kindness. When they find that balance, their quiet strength can become something truly transformative. Kind people walk a delicate path, exposing their authentic selves in a world where transparency is often misunderstood. Choosing to be genuine means breaking down the barriers that others use to protect themselves. This conscious choice to show yourself honestly, without masks, is an act of courage. However, this authenticity is often mistaken for naivety, and its raw honesty is mistakenly seen as a lack of sophistication. Being genuine is not weakness, it requires insight and strength to remain true to yourself in an environment that often rewards superficiality. Unfortunately, a common misconception is that kindness and authenticity are signs of fragility. Many fail to realize that kind people are not driven by a need for acceptance, but by their inner values. Their kindness is a choice, not an imposition. Yet this choice often results in isolation. The desire for deep, authentic connections often clashes with a world that values transactional relationships. Kind people are not interested in accumulating acquaintances, but rather in cultivating meaningful connections. Their altruism, while beautiful, can make them vulnerable to exploitation, as some people see their openness as an opportunity to take advantage. When they share their sincerity, these people often face the risk of being ignored or misunderstood. Their honesty, without embellishment or artifice, is often unappreciated in a world that equates complexity with intelligence. Yet their authenticity is uncomfortable because it forces others to confront their own masks. This discomfort can create distance, but genuine people remain true to who they really are. They seek authentic relationships rather than superficial interactions. Their careful approach, however, can seem like a turnoff to those who don't understand their selectiveness. It's not contempt, but rather an awareness that their time and emotional energy are valuable resources, and so they are dedicated only to those who share their values. While selectiveness protects them from superficial relationships, it can also isolate them. The pursuit of deep connection often leaves kind people at odds with the norms of a world that values quantity over quality. Yet they persist because they can't imagine living any other way. This quiet strength keeps them steadfast on their journey, even when their light is misunderstood. For kind people, this trade-off is worth it. They would rather walk alone for a while, waiting for the right people to come into their lives, than compromise the integrity of their connections. This stance reflects remarkable courage and rare self-awareness, as they choose the path less traveled in favor of a more meaningful existence. Kind people live with an open heart, an attribute that makes them deeply human and connected to the emotions of others. Yet this openness carries a duality. It is both their greatest strength and their most complex challenge. Their capacity for intense empathy often leaves them vulnerable to pain that others might ignore or avoid. They build not walls but bridges, reaching out to others and offering a haven where feelings can be expressed without fear or judgment. Yet while they are busy tending to the emotional needs of those around them, they often neglect their own. Their generosity is so vast that they can forget the importance of receiving, leaving themselves emotionally drained. This paradox places them in a unique place, surrounded by people, but often feeling deeply alone. Their vulnerability can also make them targets of exploitation. The world, unfortunately, is not always kind to those who are kind. Trust and forgiveness, which are admirable traits, can be interpreted as weakness by those with less noble intentions. Kind people offer second chances when others would give up, understand when others would walk away, and forgive when the more commonplace would be to retaliate. While these attitudes are admirable, they often result in invisible scars, emotional marks that few notice. They are deeply affected by the subtleties of relationships. A cold tone, an unreturned call, or even a small betrayal can weigh heavily on their hearts. These experiences often lead them to revisit conversations and situations, looking for where they may have gone wrong, even when it is not their fault. This introspection, which should be a source of growth, sometimes turns into self-doubt. They question their own worth, not because they lack self-esteem, but because they measure their importance by the happiness they bring to others. However, this vulnerability is not a weakness, but a source of strength. It is what allows them to connect in unique and profound ways with the people around them. It is an act of courage to feel intensely, to love without reservation, and to care in ways that truly transform lives. This emotional openness makes them unforgettable, even if sometimes they are not appreciated at the time. The emotional landscape of good people is complex. Their openness does not mean they are oblivious to pain. In fact, they often feel the weight of loss, disappointment, and rejection more intensely and deeply, leaving lasting scars on their hearts. Yet they continue to open themselves up to the world because they believe in the fundamental goodness of humanity, even when confronted with evidence to the contrary. This vulnerability, paradoxically, nurtures their resilience. Despite their emotional wounds, they do not allow themselves to be broken. Each scar is a lesson, a reminder of the depth of their humanity. Gradually, they learn to set boundaries, not to close themselves off, but to protect the light they carry within. Good people's vulnerability is not about giving up control, but about embracing life in all its complexity and messy beauty. It is both a cross to bear and a gift to the world. It shapes who they are, and while it may leave them lonely at times, it ensures that they leave an indelible mark on the hearts they touch. When kind people face loneliness, it is not a sign of failure or inadequacy, but a crucible where their character is forged. For them, solitude is not just about being alone, but about a sanctuary to reconnect with their essence, free from the expectations and demands of the world. In this quiet space, they find the strength to confront their thoughts, fears, and desires without distractions. Unlike others who seek external validation or avoid introspection, kind people embrace silence as an opportunity to learn. In solitude, they discover their intrinsic worth, something that does not depend on the recognition or approval of others. Gaining clarity, they begin to see the patterns in their lives, the times when they gave too much, were silent when they should have spoken, or hesitated to set boundaries. This self-reflection does not lead to bitterness, but to a deep awareness of the necessary balance between kindness and self-preservation. Solitude becomes a place of renewal, where they learn to take care of themselves, to value their own company, and to find fulfillment in small acts of creativity, curiosity, or contemplation. It is there that they discover an unshakable inner strength, free from the expectations of others. The world often confuses solitude with weakness or isolation. But for kind people, it is a source of empowerment. It is in this state that they rediscover who they truly are, not as someone defined by their relationships, but as a unique and luminous individual. As they become stronger, they realize that being alone does not mean the absence of others, but the full presence of themselves. This process of transformation is not immediate or easy. It requires courage to face uncomfortable truths and moments of doubt. However, it is in this state that good people find their true strength, knowing who they are, what they represent, and what they deserve. Solitude, then, ceases to be a burden and becomes a foundation. A solid ground on which they build a life of authenticity and purpose. This strength, born from their inner journey, is what allows them to continue to be kind in a world that doesn't always reciprocate. It's what keeps them true to their values, unwavering in their kindness, and resilient even in the face of adversity. Being kind isn't about conforming to expectations, it's about standing up for what's right, even when the world encourages otherwise. It's about choosing connection over competition, understanding over judgment, and love over indifference. Yes, it can be a lonely path at times, but it's paved with integrity, self-respect, and an unwavering belief in the beauty of humanity. For those who feel alone because of their kindness, remember, this aloneness is not a void, but a space filled with courage and wisdom. You are not alone in the truest sense. Every act of kindness you offer plants a seed that will blossom in ways you may never see. Your presence is a light in a world that often forgets its own darkness. To be kind is to be brave, to walk with an open heart, to carry the burdens of others without giving up. This path is not the easiest, but it is the most meaningful. You are building a legacy of love, resilience, and hope. Thank you for sharing your time and attention in this reflection. The fact that you allowed yourself to follow these words shows your own strength and openness. Remember, Your kindness, even when it seems to go unnoticed, is a rare and precious gift to the world. May your kindness always guide you to the strength and peace you deserve.